Rodger, you can hardly go to a conference in youth ministry without there being some presentation about how kids are different these days, or maybe even a counter voice. The same yesterday, today, tomorrow, there's some unchanging verities about adolescent life. But I know this has been a particular interest to you, so tell me what you're finding. Is ministering to youth a moving target, and how?
Wow, that's a great question. Skip, honestly, I get asked often, I'm sort of surprised by this, if young people really have changed all that much. And at least right now, in this day and age, my answer right now is I really don't think young people themselves, in the very heart of who they are, have changed all that much. What I do believe is that the world around them has changed dramatically. We talked about distractions earlier. I think there are so many more variables for young people in their lives. And some of these I celebrate. I celebrate that our young women, for instance, can choose not just to be in the medical profession a nurse, but they could choose to be a physician or a surgeon, for instance. And I celebrate that young women who choose to be educators can move beyond, if they're called to, beyond the classroom, they can actually be an administrator or a superintendent of a district, et cetera. So I celebrate some of these choices. What I'm convinced about, however, is I don't think young people's choice-making abilities have kept up with this myriad of choices that are available to them now. So I think part of the task of youth ministry in these days is the discernment task, is to help young people look at all these choices that are available to them, to not be paralyzed by them, to celebrate that they have these choices available, but to give them some choice-making skills. And some of what I'm seeing is that this starts in increments, talking to young people about some of the very basic choices that they're making, choices about who they're going to talk to and how they're going to talk to people around them, how they're going to treat themselves and each other, for instance. Those incremental choices actually add up. They become cumulative, and they equip the young person to be able to make some of the grander or larger choices of their lives. I've had good youth leaders start talking to their young people and saying, you're making some really fine choices today, and name some of those choices. Or, Rodger, I'm not sure you're making some of the best choices today in how you're reacting to Skip or to Kim or to Lee around you. Well, that kind of language actually is empowering to young people because it reminds them, I've got choices to make moment by moment, as well as the large and grand choices of our lives. But these moment by moment choices, they actually make a difference. So I really want to encourage our parents, step-parents, grandparents, caregivers, our youth ministry leaders, our pastors, our educators, to begin equipping young people thoughtfully about how they make choices, given all the choices that are available in these days. I'm convinced that the young people themselves have not, in their essence, changed all that much. I am convinced that the world around them has changed dramatically and will continue to change.